Good day, everyone, and a happy and prosperous new year to you all. I'm Joe Vigorito, Vice President of Solutions Architecture here at Seceon. And as many of you know, Seceon offers the most complete approach to cybersecurity threat detection and prevention in the industry, all from a single user interface and with minimal amounts of administrative navigation. So you get to your alerts and incidents and threats and threat indicators as rapidly as possible with zero friction when seconds all count. And over the next few moments, I'm going to give you a short overview of the Seceon Open Threat Management Platform so you can see firsthand our modern approach to cybersecurity against today's most evolved threats. So on screen, you now see the Seceon MSSP portal that is part of our multi-tenancy platform. But more importantly, the tenant that I am about to discuss with you is one that we use for demonstration purposes as we are doing right here. Now, some of you have worked with us previously over many years and may have seen this before, or perhaps you've even utilized it a bit yourselves. So let me call your attention to the upper left-hand side navigation that we call analytics. Now, this can also be called real-time monitoring. It's where we get comprehensive visibility into organizational assets like applications and services and hosts and user activity. And it's also where security operations and network operations converge by indicating what resources are being consumed the most and by what hosts and what users. It's also our real-time communications monitoring, identifying behaviors that are germane to things like email and messaging, both inside as well as outside the enterprise. And then lastly, insights is where we validate and visualize what is occurring between mapped assets or is distinctly unusual and requires further interrogation with our tremendous drill through and drill down capabilities. Now, analytics in Seceon that occur over multiple stages eliminate false positives with a 25 times threat surface reduction, unparalleled in our industry. And we are continuously adding new functionality, and I want to highlight some of that new functionality for you. First is our executive dashboard, which is an at-a-glance view designed for senior leaders to know immediately if unusual activity is occurring and where it's showing up and what the most recent events are that may require further interrogation, as you can see here. I also want to call attention to our new container dashboard. Now, I have to tell you, this is a really, really big deal that we are very excited about. Containers are bringing unparalleled change to the application development world. And like any unification platform using infrastructure, they need to be maintained and monitored. And lastly, related to this cluster is cloud and our cloud dashboards. This is part and parcel of our everyday lives, both at home as well as at work. And businesses are much the same, with Oracle predicting that by 2025, 98% of commercial organizations globally will have most of their infrastructure sourced in the cloud. And here you see one of our illustrations on display. Let me broaden this out. Here is where we stay abreast of activity indicative of our cloud infrastructure having unusual or unexpected activity. Our second cluster is what we call command and control. And this is where our threat coverage comes in. It's where we establish our threat models, and it's where we assign an alert to another user. It's where we establish our trusted threat indicators, and we'll talk more about that in a moment, and how we find hidden low signal to noise ratio threats via our advanced threat hunting capability. And of course, our ability to auto remediate threats and see what tactics are in use via the MITRE ATT&CK framework. It's where we also automate the task of writing rules and address our threat models dynamically, finding the true indicators of concern from the thousands of issues presented by each and every client every day. The third major grouping in the Seceon user interface is reporting. Now, never underestimate the importance of this section. It is one of, if not the most important areas for your clients. Why? That's actually pretty simple. It's because compliance is non-negotiable inside the walls of most corporations and entities. And also compliance regulations, when assessed or audited, require something that's called visible demonstrable evidence, or VDE. It's the fulfillment of policies plus process governance along with a method of tracking. Without that system of verification and measure, getting funding for additional programs, evidencing to a board of directors that you are focused on doing the right things, and proving to an auditor that your program key controls are working as advertised is almost impossible. Reporting truly is a big moneymaker in our industry. Lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about provisioning and administration. Just because it's last on our list doesn't mean it's the least important. This is where your governance structure gets defined, notifications and users and assets and user-defined alerts, your vulnerability scanning schedule, trusted threat indicators from things that you are okay with having in your environment. From an execution standpoint, this might be the most important section in the platform. In spending time with end users, they typically ask more questions about this section than any other. Again, why? Because it's where I manage what information I want to receive from the platform and how I intend on being able to consume it. So, in summary, Seceon finds anomalies and behaviors that bypass or escape other security tools due to the uniqueness of our platform. It's a layered approach because adversaries currently have 14 tactics and 193 techniques and 401 sub-techniques in the MITRE ATT&CK framework for enterprises alone, and that doesn't include mobile and industrial controls. And MITRE continues to add more and more all the time. So Seceon, contextual real-time alerts and automation, analysis and correlation, behavioral analytics and predictive modeling, out-of-the-box containment and elimination, dynamic and adaptive threat models, and threat hunting for hidden actions upon objectives, with full operations management and reporting and collaborative investigation capability, the most complete solution in the marketplace. Thank you again for sharing your valuable time with me, and please reach me, joseph.vigorito, Vigorito, at Seceon.com with additional questions or to see much more of Seceon, and I look forward to seeing you next time.